host of Let's Talk Teens, Dr. Kela Henry, board-certified family medicine physician, speaker, and award-winning author. Southern-born from Georgia and now practicing in the Atlanta area, Dr. Kela is a self-made, savvy, and trusted doctor.
Everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk Teens with Dr. Kela. And of course, I am your host, Dr. Kela, board certified family practitioner, speaker, and award-winning author. Today, I want to talk about something a little more serious, and it's in line with my previous topics about mental health. Today, I want to discuss how divorce can affect the mental health of teenagers. Yesterday, I was reading an article about mental health, and it was a survey that was done with over 400,000 respondents in 64 countries, including the United States. The conclusion was, for people who did not have very close family relationships, in addition to also not having very close friendships, they were 10 times as likely to suffer with mental health challenges. Now, divorce is something that is becoming more and more common in our culture, and this can have a profound impact on the mental health of our children, particularly teenagers. Now, what are some of the feelings that teens may experience when their parents are going through a divorce? For one, a sense of abandonment. They may feel as though they're being left behind by the non-custodial parent. Also, a sense of guilt. Children may be thinking, am I the cause of the divorce? There also may be some anger, a loss of a sense of stability, maybe even some embarrassment about the stigma of now coming from a broken home. Now, I am the child of divorce, and I have to tell you, if I had to give my parents a grade on how they handle their divorce, I would give them an A-. And the reason why is because of how they handle things with my sister and me. I was 12 years old and my sister was 8 when my parents split up. And when I thought back over how my parents handled things, I said, they actually did a pretty good job. And I'm going to list the 5 steps that my parents went through for handling their divorce with us, because I think that made a profound impact on how my sister and I handle the divorce ourselves emotionally as young children. So number 1, I recommend having a family meeting with your children. And this means unplug from everything. No distractions, no television on, no cell phones. Now, of course, when my parents went through their divorce, there was no social media or cell phones. But my parents made sure that we sat down as a family at the dining room table, and they explained everything in age-appropriate language. And that's step number 2, using age-appropriate language for your children. As I mentioned, I was 12 and my sister was 8, so we were pretty young. Some of you may have teenagers, so of course they may understand a little bit more about divorce and what it means. We were a bit young, and to be honest, for us, there weren't a lot of divorced families in our neighborhood, at our school, or even in the family. So this was going to be a completely new experience for us. And being so young, our parents needed to explain exactly what that meant. And I remember them saying, well, this just means that mommy and daddy just can't get along anymore, and dad won't be living here with us. The third thing, be sure to tell your children 2 things. Number 1, that the divorce is not their fault. And number 2, that both of you love them and that will never change. This way, it removes the guilt about being the cause of the divorce and that anxiety about having to pick sides or feeling anger toward one parent or the other. It takes that off the table. and it reassures your children that you care for them. Your children's feelings need to be taken into consideration here. Now, the two parents involved, your feelings for each other have obviously changed and may have changed, but you need to reassure your children that your feelings for them have not changed. Step number 4, please, please do not bash your ex or soon to be ex, rather directly to your children or indirectly. I know this is an urge that may be hard to resist, but you must do this. Ladies, if your husband was unfaithful, please do not say to your kids, your dad is a cheating SOB. Do not do this. If you want to vent, you need to vent to a girlfriend or a therapist or maybe your mom on the phone away from the kids. Do not do this when your kids are in the house and can hear you. It's the same effect. If you say this directly to your children or you're speaking about it and saying it loudly enough where they can hear you, again, the effect is the same. You don't need to do this. I have a friend who went through a divorce. She has 3 children with her ex-husband. He wasn't a very good husband. I'll just be honest, he wasn't. He was abusive to my friend and he was unfaithful. Thank God she was a Christian woman. She tried to be forgiving and work with him, but his behavior didn't change. She did not ever run him down in front of the kids, and she did not keep the children away from him. What she did is just continued to tell the kids, well, your dad loves you. I love you. What the children grew up and noticed is that she was the one who was there for them the most. She was the one who made the sacrifices. Over the years, when they would go to visit with him, he would just dump them off at his mother's house and then go out with his other girlfriends and what have you. Now that the children are all teens, when he calls, they'll look at the phone. Oh, it's dad calling. You get it. No, you get it. I don't want to talk to him. You do it. My friend is vindicated. She did not have to run him down. The children are smart and figured it out for themselves. And then step number 5, please get counseling for your children if you're able to afford it. If you're not, then you're going to have to essentially be the counselor, if you will, for your children. At a minimum, once a week, you need to do a check-in with them. Hey, how are you feeling? Do you miss mommy or daddy? What are you thinking? This is very important. With those weekly check-ins or bi-weekly, 3 times a week, even every day, when you are checking in with your children, you'll be able to detect if something is wrong, if they're more withdrawn, if they have questions, if they are, for example, not doing their homework, not taking as good of care of themselves. Then you'll know, hey, it's time to make an appointment, perhaps with my physician, and see if there's something going on more than just depression and a mental health issue regarding the divorce. Do make that appointment with us. As physicians, we'll also check for metabolic issues, even nutritional deficiencies that may be contributing to a mental health issue, and recommend some counseling, again, if you can afford it. Children want to be heard, and they need to be heard, because divorce doesn't just affect the 2 people whose marriage is breaking up. It also affects the family, and not just the children, but even extended family as well. And so you want to know, for example, are other family members saying things about the ex? Are other family members giving your children a hard time about coming from a broken home now that it's not together? Also, you need to be checking in with your children once you begin perhaps dating again. How do they feel about your new partner? So this concludes this week's edition of Let's Talk Teens with Dr. Kela. Join me next week. Until then, think positive and be positive. See you then. Bye now.